The main drag in Reston is like many small towns. There's a coffee shop, a grocery store, and a town office. But to Sharon Sims, it was the story behind those buildings that caught her eye.
Reston has so many neat old buildings that I'd like to learn more about them. So that was my project for 2020.
Sims has blogged about her family's history since 2014, but the retired school teacher decided she would spend 2020 learning more about the town she's called home for 30 years. Rediscovering stories she found in old books and newspapers.
You bring them out of the history books and there's pictures and a blog is just a little short chapter that you can digest in one night. And the old stone store is something that really amazes me, that they had that in 1902. It was built. They had the technology to chip stones apart and make them flat and put them together.
The store, now called Reston Fine Foods, is still in operation. Officials with the rural municipality of Pipestone, which encompasses Reston, also hopes to use some of the area's rich history to drive tourism.
Well, it's important for us to be preserving the history.
Hannes Chalmers, the RM's Manager of Economic Development, says plans are in the works to further develop a newly designed 2.7-kilometre walking path known locally as the Peanut Line Trail. It follows the route the Canadian Pacific Railway took into town before the tracks were removed. She says the plan is to add more wayfinding and interpretive signage and make the trail more accessible.
Preserving the history also helps create a link to the roots of the community and the people who have lived here and currently live here.
Sims hopes to continue her blog through 2021. This year, she plans to focus on some of Reston's old houses.
I especially hope that people who grew up here and lived here will connect with it. But I also hope that people that didn't think I can do that about my town.
She hopes to dive into more of Reston's stories in Manitoba's red-level pandemic restrictions are lifted, so she can once again dig into old newspapers and other materials. Riley Lachuk, CBC News, Reston, Manitoba.